Let's jump right into this explainer. If you've ever wondered how modern political leaders actually keep track of the thousands of people they meet, or why so many campaigns feel, well, purely transactional, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're unpacking a totally different approach to civic engagement. We're looking at a platform called Voter Fusion and how it's trying to shift the focus from simply counting voters to genuinely understanding them. So, here's a critical question for you. What actually happens to all that campaign data after Election Day? Think about it. Throughout a campaign cycle, candidates meet thousands of people. They shake hands, they listen to deeply personal stories about local issues, they make big promises. But tragically, once the election is over, almost all of that institutional memory is just lost. Those real people just become a turnout score sitting in a dusty database somewhere. Okay, let's dive into this. The root of the problem is what we call the fragmented campaign. Right now, campaigns track isolated transactions across incredibly scattered tools. You've got one spreadsheet that knows a person went to a rally. Another totally separate tool knows they donated. And a completely different consultant is handling the door knocking. Because all this information is fractured, the campaign completely fails to understand the actual human relationship behind those actions. They literally just see a scattered list of disconnected data points. Which brings us to a really crucial distinction. There's a great quote that sums this up perfectly. Traditional political software manages campaigns. Voter Fusion develops enduring civic relationships. That is a real game changer. The goal here isn't to rip out and replace every single tool a campaign already uses. Not at all. Instead, it acts as an intelligence layer. It takes all that fragmented activity we were just talking about and knits it together into highly useful relationship knowledge. Let's ground this in a real example. Imagine a supporter, we'll call her Sarah. She goes to a rally and scans a QR code. Later on, she asks for a yard sign, maybe she volunteers, talks to a staffer about an issue that's really important to her family, and even introduces 3 of her neighbors to the campaign. Now, ordinary systems, they're going to record those as 5 separate, completely unrelated transactions. But Voter Fusion recognizes Sarah as one person with one evolving history. It actually helps the campaign remember who she is, what she cares about, and most importantly, what the campaign actually promised her in the first place. This is a massive paradigm shift. The old way is entirely focused on what the campaign can get from the voter, right? Target, contact, mobilize. Ask, ask, ask. But this new approach flips the script entirely. It's about understanding, earning trust, and remembering obligations. It shifts the focus to remembering what the campaign actually owes the citizen after asking for their support. And doing this creates a continuous cycle, which is known as the civic relationship flywheel. It works like this. You engage people out in the community. You gather feedback to really understand what matters to them. Then you personalize your follow-up. And by actually keeping your commitments, doing what you said you do, you earn their trust. Once you're elected, you serve them effectively, which naturally allows you to re-engage them for the next cycle. It's this natural, healthy feedback loop built entirely on civic trust. Which brings us to another huge differentiator, governing beyond Election Day. Most political systems out there are built for exactly one purpose, and that's to reach Election Day and win. That's it. But the relationship shouldn't just end there, right? This platform allows public officials to transition seamlessly from campaigning to actually governing. It helps leaders securely and legally separate their campaign data from their government data. That ensures constituents and their very real concerns are never forgotten once the candidate actually takes office. Now, we've got to talk about the technology making this possible, specifically this concept of candidate-grounded AI. I want to demystify this a bit because we are not talking about autonomous, hallucinating bots writing policy or tricking voters. No way. This is a strictly governed AI assistant. It only uses approved speeches, policies, and documents to help staff find accurate answers. It actually cites its sources, and it remains 100% under human control. Basically, it simply acts as this incredible institutional memory to make absolutely sure the candidate's promises are kept consistent. And beyond that core platform, the ecosystem has a couple of advanced layers. First, there's a companion tool called Nucleus, which helps organize and analyze complex, unstructured information. Then, there's an advisory layer called F3. This brings in experienced human researchers to study political environments and narratives for selected clients. So it's combining that really powerful raw data processing with expert human analysis. Now, as outlined in the source materials, this platform has been specifically designed with conservative, constitutional, and MAGA-aligned leaders in mind. And a foundational principle for that demographic is, of course, privacy. This system is built to serve, not surveil. It places a huge emphasis on lawful information, strict data security, and human decision-making. The goal here is absolutely not to harvest data, but to respectfully understand diverse citizens so that leaders can actually fulfill their commitments to them. Which leaves us with this final vision statement. Voter fusion turns scattered political contacts into enduring civic relationships. It helps leaders listen, remember, act, serve, and build trust, not only until Election Day, but long after it. It really forces us to ask a provocative question. So, is true political success just about crossing the finish line on Election Day, or is it actually about the enduring trust you build in the years that follow? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it gave you a fascinating new perspective on the future of civic relationships.